Google Slide and Microsoft PowerPoint accessibility, ensuring that your OER follow universal design concepts. In this video, you will learn the need for accessibility in documents and presentation slideshows, cross-platform accessibility practices, and Google Slide and Microsoft PowerPoint accessibility best practices. Universal design originated in architecture, but its usefulness in other areas like education is clear. Here's an illustration of the distinctions among equality, the level playing field, and equity, which in this case would mean providing accommodations, and then beyond that to liberation. In the image, there are people at a ballpark with varying heights trying to see the playing field. Equality has everyone standing on the same size box looking over a fence, with one unable to see the field. Equity rearranges the boxes so that everyone can see the field. Lastly, liberation removes the fence and the boxes for all to see the playing field. Universal design, or simply UD for short, goes beyond assuming a statement about the Office for Accessibility in a syllabus is enough for students. Universal design offers materials that are accessible for all learners with or without disabilities. It also provides options for students, such as the option to write a paper or create a short video for their final project in any given class. Universal design considers students at the margins of the educational system by providing OER over costly textbooks. Lastly, universal design removes barriers than trying to fix the learner. Accessibility best practices cross many platforms. Most practices focus on reaching those who are blind or have limited vision and use a screen reader. A screen reader used on a computer will read aloud text to a person. However, these best practices are useful for all users. Here are some things to consider in documents and presentation slideshows. Utilize headings and structure to allow those using a screen reader to navigate through a document or slideshow presentation. Both Google and Microsoft products have headings and other structural elements, such as bullets and numbering, built in for you to use. Always add alternative text, also called alt text, so that those using a screen reader can hear a description of an image that is in your document or presentation slideshow. This is also important for charts and graphs. It is best practice to place alt text for both charts and graphs so that those using a screen reader can read what the description says. Use descriptive semantic links to web pages rather than including an entire URL, since a screen reader will read aloud each letter in a lengthy hyperlink. Also, use the common underlined blue text so that hyperlinks are easily recognizable. Use easy-to-read font styles such as Arial and Calibri. Make sure there is sufficient contrast in the colors that you are using. This will make it easier for users to read your document or slideshow presentation. In addition to the best practices just mentioned, here are some things specific to Google Slides and Microsoft PowerPoint. Use at least 20-point font size in a slide to make them easy to read. Avoid transitions and animations since they can be distracting and make it difficult for users to view your presentation. Use a simple background with high contrast to the font and other images in the foreground to ensure your readers or viewers can easily understand your slides. Avoid busy backgrounds and background graphics whenever possible. Do not overload your slides with information. Keep them as short and concise as possible. If you have a lot of information to get across, break it up over several slides. Limit bullet points on each slide to a maximum of 6. Always include unique titles for each slide in your presentation. If you have 2 slides with the same title, rename them and include either Title 1 and Title 2 to the title, or Title A and Title B. Lastly, include audio-video content in alternative formats such as closed captions for videos and transcripts for audio-video content. Here's a hands-on look at accessibility best practices for those of you who use the desktop version of Microsoft PowerPoint. In this presentation, the first slide has some accessibility concerns. First, it has unnecessary transition or animation, which might be a distraction for some. Second, there may not be enough contrast between the background and the color of the text. Third, it does not limit the use of underlined text to hyperlinks. Some words are underlined for emphasis. For example, the word required is underlined but not hyperlinked. Here is a reworking of that slide with no transition or animation. There is more contrast between the black color of the text and the white background. The text style of this slide also was changed to Arial. Use of underlined text is limited to hyperlinks rather than for emphasis. Here is another slide that has some accessibility concerns. It also has unnecessary transition or animation, insufficient contrast between background colors and text colors, and poor use of underlined text. To aid you in making slideshow presentations accessible, the desktop version of Microsoft PowerPoint has a built-in accessibility checker. You can find this by going to the File drop-down menu, then to check for issues, and then finally check accessibility. In the right navigation, you will find errors and some tips to make this presentation better. This slide does have errors, one of which says that it is missing alt text. Here is a reworking of that slide, including the addition of alt text. You can add alt text to an image by selecting the image, then right-clicking on the image and selecting Format Picture. Under Size and Properties, add alt text in the description field. Text suitable for this image may be people in business attire sitting at a table sharing their thoughts. Always make sure that you add a unique slide title to each of your slides. Here's a hands-on look at accessibility best practices for those of you who use Google Slides. This first slide has some accessibility concerns. In addition to the underlined text and not enough contrast for some users between the background and the color of the text, there is a lot of information in one slide in a small font that may be difficult to read. To make it easier to read, it could be divided across multiple slides. The next slide has a duplicate slide title to the first slide, an entire URL rather than a descriptive link, and missing alt text for the image. Here is a reworking of the first 2 slides. Slide 1 now has a 1 at the end of the title, indicating that it is the first slide in a series of related slides. The two new slides not only increase color contrast and eliminate underlined text, they span the information so that each slide is easier to read and in 20-point font size or more. Here is a reworking of the final slide. The long URL is embedded in descriptive text as academic integrity. It also uses the standard blue color underlined text. To add alt text to an image in Google Slides, select the image, then right-click and select alt text. Add alt text in the description area. Text suitable for this image may be people in business attire sitting at a table sharing thoughts. Just like in Microsoft PowerPoint, you always make sure that when you create a new slide, you always add a title to each of your slides.